Candace from Amsterdam Garden Center, and this is the Cardinal Lodge Wreath. Let's go make it together. Ready? Let's get started. Step 1 is gather your supplies. Everything you need should be included with your kit, but you'll want to add a pair of pruners, wire cutters, but if you don't have wire cutters, you can always use scissors as well. Step 2, orient your wreath. So you'll notice that when you receive your Noble Fir wreath that it has 2 attached pine cones. So we used one on the top and one on the bottom. If you don't like the placement of that, you can unattach them and then reattach them after. I'm probably just going to leave them how they are. And when we're adding our greenery, we're always going to work with the flow of the direction that the branches are already attached. So we're on step 3, and for this step, we're going to make our bundles. So for this, we're going to use our frosted Carolina Sapphire and our beautiful white pine. So to make these bundles, you want to have them approximately 6 inches in length, and that way it'll fit nicely into our wreath. So I'm going to take a piece of pine, I'm going to cut it about that length, and then I'm going to take a piece of the frosted sapphire here, about the same length, and that way I have a piece that's going to just sit right on top of that one. And I'm going to grab a piece of wire, and I'm going to go right in between. There's a bit of a segment here, about 1.5 inches up the stem, and I'm going to thread the wire through. So you want your wire to be about halfway. That way when you twist it, you'll have 2 long ends that then you can later attach to your wreath. So I'm going to pinch it tight, pull it around as tightly as you can, grab them together and give a few twists. So that just makes a nice tight little bundle that you can then attach to your wreath. So we're gonna go ahead and do this several times. I'm hoping to get about maybe 7 or 8 segments about this length. It's okay too, now that that first one from the Carolina Sapphire was tipped, but this one will have maybe, if I cut it down here, it'll have a few extra branches. So this one actually is a nice size branch. I'm actually gonna bring it down one more. That one will be a little bit longer, but I can just use this to tuck into the wreath. So this is gonna have a little double side, which is fine because it actually works perfect with this piece of pine. So we're gonna carry on, just making these bundles. So step 4 is to add the Ilex berries to our bundles. So I've got a larger bundle here, so I'm gonna take the length of that, lay my berries across. I want them to come up just slightly above the greens. So I'm gonna cut this stem probably about there. And that way I can attach this, have it just right, and I'll attach this section to another piece. So I've got the wire coming out of either end here. I'm just gonna lay my berries across. Just be kind of careful because they are fresh and they can fall off. So I'm just gonna place a little bit of a gap here, and I'm gonna bring my wire carefully around so that it goes around that main stem. It doesn't need to be crazy, but you just wanna attach it. So I just wrapped it around twice, and how we did before, just give it a few little twists. So you wanna have enough wire still to fit it back onto your wreath. So I'm gonna do that one there, and then I do one more stem here, and grab another little bundle, and then same thing, I'm just gonna lay it across. Bring that wire around, and twist it. It's okay that you have a little bit of stem here because that's actually gonna fit into your frame, so it'll just help secure it. Step 5 is going to be to place your bundles on the wreath. But first, I just wanted to make sure that you double check the way that the direction is going, because with the berries, we probably are going to actually put them on this side so that they're going upwards with the flow. So this is how I'm going to start placing them. So you're going to alternate, maybe add another bundle by just lifting a few of the Noble fronds up and kind of tucking it in. So I'm going to stagger the direction slightly inward and then slightly outward so that you have a little bit of a fuller looking wreath. So I did the berries, and then I did a plain one without the berries, and then I add the other one kind of in there with the berries. We're not attaching anything right now. We're just placing them to make sure that we like how the overall look is going to be and how we like the spacing between the bundles. So you want to leave several inches or in between so that you have a bit of a gap. So now I'm glad I did this because I actually have it a little bit too tight. I did have one little piece of the frosted sapphire after that I thought if I needed to, I could tuck in around the bird. But I'm gonna actually space these guys out a little bit more. Step 6 is going to be attach your bundles. So this is how we're going to attach our bundles. I'm just going to gently lift part of the Noble Fir and kind of tuck it in and have part of the wire on each side of the frame. And then I'm going to wrap it around, find the wire on the other side, and pull it as snugly as you can. Just cross them over and then twist them together. So we're going to continue that all the way around. I'm going to add this one now, finding one side of each of the wire, lift it a little bit, tuck it in, bring the wire down on either side, join it in the back, cross them over each other, and twist them just like you would a twist tie. Give it a few good twists so it's nice and snug. We're just going to continue this all the way around till all of our pieces are attached. Step 7 is going to be to create our accent. So for that, we're going to use pine cones and our birds and a little extra piece of Ilex berries. So to make the accent, I'm going to start with my lower pine cone here, and I'm going to add another one right beside it. So to do that, I'm going to take a piece of my wire and I'm going to just fold it kind of into the lower quarter of the pine cone. So I'm going to leave a fairly large section on either end and just wrap it around. When they come together, I'm just going to do like we did before and just give it a few little twists. So now I have this wire with the two tails that I can add to the wreath. So I'm going to go ahead and just place it in kind of where I like it and wrap it around. Make it fairly tight. And twist. So if it's a little bit crooked, don't worry about it too much because on the wire you have a little bit of wiggle room, so I can actually just take it and kind of twist it a bit to whatever angle you kind of like the look of. So now I'm going to take a piece of the Ilex berries and I'm going to maybe do a small piece like that. And I had a little tiny piece of extra frosted sapphire here, so I'm going to just kind of make a little tiny bouquet. Actually, I think I'm actually only going to use one piece, and then I'm going to grab another wire, wrap that around, twist it, and then attach that in as well. So I kind of think when I look at it, And think of how your bird is gonna sit, where you kind of want to place your birds. I actually kind of wouldn't mind doing a little bit of an accent, maybe off of that side, coming down here, just to really emphasize the red down here, and then I'll probably add my other bird up at the top. So I think that looks great. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach. So just how we did before, kind of going with the general direction of the greenery. Kind of feather it in. Kind of make it tight. Grab the wire in behind both sides and then give it a few good twists. Some people will just twist their wire and then tuck it in so that you don't have any sharp edges sticking out. Or you can go ahead and use your wire cutters and snip those edges and then just tuck them back in under the wreath as well. Whatever is easier for you. So I'm gonna take this other piece and actually I'm gonna add it up here. So sometimes it's nice if you don't use 100% of your product, if you've got a couple little pieces, that way after you can take a look at it and say, oh, this has got a little bit of a bare spot here. I wouldn't mind adding just a tiny bit here. Then you can go ahead and add in those little tiny pieces. Yeah. So I'm just gonna do that here because there's a little bit of a gap and I wouldn't mind one little added cluster right here. So now that I've got all of my Ilex berries and all of my bundles are attached, I've just got my little birds left and one more pine cone. So the birds actually have a little clip, which makes it really easy. So you can find where you want to clip it in. And I think for this one, I like the idea of him kind of sitting a little bit higher. And this guy facing him. So I'm literally just taking a little piece of greenery and clipping him in. I wouldn't mind seeing the tail actually, so I'm gonna turn this one a little bit. Yeah, so I think that looks pretty cute on the position of them. So we've got our little accent. So step 8 is just add any remaining product that you have or make any additional changes that you might need to do. I just added this one last pine cone up in the top corner here and kept this as my focal point. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy your Cardinal Lodge wreath as much as we do.